Good morning, traders. This is Shane Scott, the moderator of Newsware's Trade Talk. A Trade Talk, we're providing you with the up-to-the-minute news on the market, along with the facts, themes, and short-term trading ideas for the day ahead. Joining me today is our trading anchor, Bill Olson, who brings over 30 years of institutional trading knowledge to our program. Let's go ahead and get things started with our markets update. U.S. futures are on the rise this morning, with S&P futures up 0.26%, Dow futures up 0.21%, and Nasdaq futures up 0.42%. Contracts on the tech-heavy Nasdaq were up 0.5%, while 10-year treasury yields held below 1.15%. After a sharp run in equities at the start of February, along with data on Wednesday that showed that the core consumer price index was unchanged last month, traders now seem to be taking a more subdued stance. Whether or not the U.S. stimulus, the vaccine rollout, and the government determination to kickstart growth will cause the American economy to overheat remains to be debated. In his speech Wednesday, Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell said the U.S. job market remains a long way away from a full recovery and called on both lawmakers and private sector to support workers. He also noted that it will require more than supportive monetary policy to achieve and sustain maximum employment. Elsewhere in markets, oil edged lower after capping the longest run of gains in 2 years, and the dollar is steady. Over in Europe, the Stock 600 index was buoyed by strong results from Royal Mail and Credit Agricole. Over in Asia, several markets in the region have closed ahead of the Lunar Year holiday. Bill, what are you seeing as far as market updates?
I see the S&Ps. They're off their session highs or earlier highs this morning. The tech stocks are showing some strength, but the gains are not significant, which is kind of leading me to be cautious today. The recent rally is could any day now give away to some selling pressure, so I'm watching my positions very carefully. That OPEC report and the IEA report came out this morning. OPEC says that their compliance is at 103%. That's actually pretty good. The IE came out and they're indicating that additional production in oil is likely to commence in the first quarter. So you got to keep on oil. Oil's trading a little off this morning, but as you know, Shane, my main focus is always on earnings.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's go ahead and move into earnings to watch today. Bill, what are we expecting as far as earnings?
Let's talk about what we saw last night. iRobot, they delivered a 53-cent beat on higher revenue and stocks up 8% this morning. Sonos, ticker SONO, they delivered a 29-cent beat on higher revenue, and they're up 17% this morning. XPO, this is one we were talking about, they delivered a 57-cent beat on higher revenue, and you see the stock is up over 2.5% this morning. Eli, which is Callaway Golf, ELY, they delivered, they missed on earnings. Stock is trading a little lower this morning. But the other three are really looking good today.
How about anything as far as upcoming earning announcements?
Well, there's DDOG, ticker DDOG, Datadog. They're priced for an 8% move when they release earnings this afternoon. Walt Disney, ticker DIS, they are priced for a 5.6% move when they release earnings. Expedia, EXPE, they're priced for a 6.8% move. GoDaddy, GDDY, that's priced for a 7.25% move. Mohawk Industries, ticker MHK, they're priced for 11% move. And Cloudera, which is ticker NET, they're priced for a 10% move when they release earnings this afternoon.
Well, let's go ahead and move into our economic reports. But what type of reports are we expecting today?
The jobless claims are coming out at 8:30. That's the key report, and that's the only real economic report I'm seeing today on the schedule.
Mm-hmm. Well, moving into our morning's critical insights, starting one off with a story on Microsoft, ticker MSFT. Microsoft and Volkswagen are teaming up to build an automated driving platform. So off this news, Microsoft share price is up 0.32% in pre-market. One on Tesla, ticker TSLA, an independent network of car plugs, EVgo, owned by LS Power, has taken some of the charging monopoly away from Tesla, as the company said it will retrofit half of its 800 U.S. charging stations to accommodate Tesla vehicles, which come with a proprietary plug not seen on rival electric vehicles. So it plans to also include Tesla ports at 200 stations to be built by year's end. One on Hormel, ticker HRL. It's set to buy Planters from Kraft Heinz, ticker KHZ, for $3.35 billion. Kraft share price is currently up 1.48% in pre-market, while Hormel share price is down 0.9%. In other news, Shell, ticker RDS-B, announced that it will be freezing the salary of all employees, suspending all raises as it looks to save cash amid an overhaul of the company. The company will be starting one of its biggest reorganizations in history as it pivots from a century-long structure that prioritized oil and gas production. There will be as many as 9,000 job cuts over the next 2 years, and Shell share price is down 1.22% in pre-market. Lastly, for me, pet sitter network company Rover plans to become a public company through a merger with True Winds Capital's SPAC Nebula Caravel acquisition, ticker NEBC, at an enterprise value of $1.35 billion. Nebula's share price is up 7.36% in pre-market. Bill, what are you seeing as far as this morning's news?
As you know, Shane, I break my news down into specific alerts. I'm looking for industry sectors. I'm looking for event type catalyst, anything where I think there's might be an edge to be delivered today. I have my FANG alert, and one thing that I kind of find interesting is Amazon, along with Ferragamo. There's a news story out that they both file lawsuits against a lot of the counterfeiters out there. I also see pins. There's a rumor going around that Microsoft has been talking to pins for the last couple of months about buying them out. So it's pins may be in play. It's something to watch. My Dow Jones 30 alert, I see that Humana and IBM's Watson announced a collaboration using artificial intelligence. That's something to look into. Disney, ticker DIS, their earnings are out later today. The key focus will likely be on the recovery plans from COVID. Earnings are not going to be really, a beat on the earnings. People just don't know. I mean, they've got a lot of issues there, but if their plans are solid for going forward, the stock could see a boost. Microsoft, as you said, that Volkswagen story, that's kind of hot about them assisting Microsoft in building a cloud-based automated driving platform. Those are the hot stories that I'm seeing today in my alerts, Shane.
Well, moving into our Trade Talk picks for today, I'm picking Kraft Heinz, ticker KHC, off the news that it sold Planters for $3.35 billion. It's a good price tag, and it's already got some mobility off of that. It's got a bit of an uptick between 1% and 2% this morning, and I think we can expect a little bit more from that off of the sale, and so that's the one I'm looking at. A little cautious at seeing when to get in and whether at the open or wait a little bit. So I think it's definitely one we need to watch at the open and see. But I'd say, get the gains where you can see them today, but I definitely expect some gains to be made. What's your pick looking like, Bill?
Going with GoDaddy, GDDY, run into earnings. Option volume looks, pretty positive yesterday. I'm looking at the stock, over the past month, and there were some nice stories that they, if I look at last quarter's earnings release, they did beat last quarter. They, added 1 million new users. So that's a nice positive. And I'm thinking GoDaddy could at least have a nice run into the actual earnings report. So that's my pick for today, GDDY. In terms of like hot off the press news, I was just looking at what some of these hot stories that are coming out. And, I see Kellogg's 2021 underlying growth remains on track, which is a positive for them. Spirit Airlines, ticker SAVE, their Q1 capacity is down 17%. That's not really great for them, but it's also not horrible. And Tyson Foods, TSN, they said that COVID-19 has negatively impacted order fulfillment rates. So these are some of the hot, stories that I'm seeing coming off the press today. But that's all I'm really seeing, Shane.
Definitely important to keep in mind, traders, is you can receive these same breaking stories just like us simply by subscribing at newsware.com. Check us out for a free trial today. It will definitely up your trading game. Moving into our scoreboard, talking about how our picks did from yesterday. I had Atlas Crest Investment Corp. That's ticker ACIC, which opened at $15.43. But we said very specifically, wait till later in the morning on this one because that price was just way too high. And it was. So there was definitely a price drop, just like we thought there'd be. Came between 10:30 and 11 a.m. when the share price went down to as low as $13.54, hovered around that area. From there was some profit to be made. The share price then returned to as high as $14.64, stayed in that ballpark. So traders who came in and came out around then before the close could have ended up with an 8% gain. The price did close a little bit lower, $13.68. However, if anyone did keep their shares till close, they're looking at even better gains today as the share price is now up past $14.84, which since our market low buy-in is about a 9.6% gain. So yeah, it was a good buy, and it was one that we could have definitely came out on top on if we played it well. So it was a good trade. How'd yours end up doing, Bill?
Well, I did XPO. This is an earnings play. Now, the stock had opened up at $122.69, tailed off from there. You know, I was comfortable with this pick because I knew my research was right. The option volume looked good. The data behind it looked good. For all of the past 3 months, all my indicators on XPO were positive. But the stock was selling off, and that's typically a worrisome sign. But because I was so confident in this position, I just held the stock. I didn't do anything. I just waited for that earnings report to come out, and when it did, that stock moved. They beat earnings by 57 cents on higher revenue. They raised guidance, everything you want to see, and the stock jumped. It actually went from past the opening price of 122.69 all the way up to 127. I mean, if you look at that, that's a 3.5% move. It's a 3.5% differential from the opening price to the high. So there definitely was a good chance to profit from this trade in XPO yesterday. It was a great call.
Nice. Well, that's going to do it for us here at Trade Talk. But traders, you know what to do. Let's get out there. Let's make some green.